Setting the right expectations when a buyer asks, how much money do I need?
Coming right up. Good morning, my name is Ron Morris. This is Moving Forward TV, your local real estate and mortgage update.
And I am DeLynn Gaston. Thanks for joining us this morning. On today's show, we are going to talk about how much money, the number one question we get from buyers, how much money do I need to bring, and when do we need to come up with the money? Okay, so you're out looking at a whole bunch of homes and you found the house of your dreams. What now?
First thing is your earnest money deposit. When you make an offer on a property, you have to stroke a check for the earnest money deposit. Typically, we're seeing $1,000 to $2,000, really depending on the price of the home, but in general, $1,000 to $2,000. Have to have that at time of offer, and yes, they're going to cash that check when you make that offer.
And yes, that money does go towards your down payment. So it's not something that's, going out the window. It goes towards your down payment, but have it ready up front.
Right.
The second item that you have to be prepared to pay, a couple of things. First of all, a pest inspection. You're going to want a pest inspection and a home inspection. We put these two together because neither one of them are a requirement, even on FHA. I know everyone thinks that it's a requirement. It is not a requirement to have either one of these. However, highly, 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 highly recommended by every mortgage person, every realtor. They will recommend you get the home inspections and the pest inspection to make sure that there's nothing wrong with the house.
And let's face it, the pest inspection is typically $100 or less.
Right.
The home inspection is usually, let's say, $300 to $400. Again, you're getting that done typically within 10 to 15 days of acceptance of that contract. You have to have that money to pay for the inspection. Both inspections, home inspection and the pest inspection.
Right, because they get paid at time of inspection.
Right.
And then the next thing is the appraisal.
Well, I already had an inspection done. Why do I need an appraisal?
Because an inspection and an appraisal are two different things, keep in mind. And especially with FHA, a lot of people think that, well, if we're having an FHA appraisal done, an inspection done, then why do we need a home inspection too? Two totally different animals. Your appraisal is a market, he is doing the value. He is looking at the house to make sure that nothing obvious is wrong, if there's leaking in the ceilings or, wood rot, things like that. But he is not, your home inspector is going to go and turn on every single faucet, flush all the toilets all at the same time.
The home inspector is completely different. They're much, much more thorough. They're not, an appraiser is, like you say, they're looking at market conditions and value. And some maybe surface items. The inspector is knocking on the wall, they're climbing in the attic. They're doing a lot more work than that appraisal.
Right. Now, keep in mind, an appraisal runs somewhere between $450, something like that. So if you add all of those things up, we're coming up to somewhere around, be prepared to spend up front for your inspections and things like that, and appraisal and all of that, around $800 or so.
Plus the earnest money of $1,000.
Plus your earnest money. Now, keep in mind also, you do it sort of in that order as well. You get your home inspection done. In most cases, you get your home inspection and pest inspections done first, because if there is anything wrong with the house, you back out and you say, you know what, this is going to need a new roof or something like that. Your home inspector tells you. So you back out of the transaction so that you don't have to spend the money for the appraisal as well. And when you do that, your $1,000 or $2,000 earnest money comes back to you as well.
Of course. Okay, we talked about monies and when they're due up front throughout the process. Now let's get to the closing. Really, the bulk of the monies are due at closing. The big portion of that is the down payment. Now on an FHA loan, it's 3.5%. You have to come up with the down payment on your own. Could be a gift, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But the seller, my point is the seller can never help with the down payment. So the 3.5% is your cost at closing. Granted, you probably have $1,000 earnest money that's going to be applied to that already, but at closing, the remainder of that down payment is going to be due amongst other things.
Right. The second thing at closing that is due is your closing costs themselves. Hard costs.
Involving around the mortgage, of course.
Right, exactly. And I like to break this into three parts because everyone says, oh, closing costs. No, they're not all costs. Like Ron said, the first part is your down payment. That's going to be whatever your down payment is going to be. If you're putting 20% down, 10% down, or 3.5% down on an FHA. Your down payment is your down payment.
Veterans, no down payment. Don't forget about that loan.
That's right. There's some of those as well. Then the second thing is your costs themselves. These are your hard costs. These are the things that there's a lot of people involved in getting the transaction to a closing, and this is everybody getting paid for their portion of it. This is where you have like your underwriter and your title company and your title search and your doc stamps, your intangible tax. Most of that figure is hard costs, title costs that are to get your loan done. Some of it goes to the government, the recording fees, the survey fees, things like that. There's a lot of people involved in that.
You know, and a round number too, let's just kind of use a round number here. You're probably talking around $3,000 to $4,000, depending on the loan. Now, if it's a larger loan amount, it's going to be more, of course, with everything. But a round number, say $3,000 to $4,000.
Right.
And the next item, would be what we call your prepaids. Prepaids are your property taxes and homeowners insurance.
Your escrows.
Escrows, prepaids, exactly. Now, on your homeowners insurance, you're going to have to pay ahead of time about 14 months. So if your homeowner's insurance is $1,200 a year, there's $1,400 that you're sticking into that escrow account just for your insurance. Then the taxes come to that as well.
And flood insurance. If you have flood insurance applies, all insurances, your first year's premium has to be paid in advance. Either a couple of days before closing, or most of the time we like paying it at the closing. Just have it paid at the closing. They send it right to the insurance company, and you're all set for a year. In addition to that, they're going to escrow so that they have enough money to pay next year's insurance bill and the taxes.
And that amount's going to vary, really depending on how much your taxes and how much your insurances are. I'm not even going to throw a number out because it just...
And what time of the year you close, because they're going to pay real estate taxes until the next tax bill is due. So right now, for example, we're doing this show in May. We're collecting quite a bit up front because taxes are coming due in November. Keep in mind, there are seller credits, because if the seller owned the property for most of the year, there will be a credit and adjustment at closing. But on your loan, your new loan, they are going to collect enough to pay that next tax bill due. And keep in mind...
Yeah, I was just going to get into that. The last thing we'd like to cover is the seller can help pay some of your closing costs and your escrows. Actually, on an FHA loan right now, we hear this is going to change, but right now, they can pay up to 6% of the sale price. $100,000 loan, they can pay up to $6,000. That's going to cover all of your closing costs, possibly all or most of your escrows. Just depends on the sell price.
And again, the seller contribution of 6% can never go towards the down payment. So if your closing costs don't come up to the full 6%, then they're going to reduce that figure.
And that's where a good realtor is going to come in and help you as well.
Absolutely.
They're going to help negotiate with the seller on your behalf how much the seller can contribute to that. You just need to be upfront with us, the mortgage people, and the realtor,
and with your realtor,
how much money you have.
Right.
If you have enough where you don't have to have the seller help, more power to you. But if you do, you just need to be able to relay that to everybody so that everybody can help you accordingly.
And you know what I'd like to interject here too as well? Keep in mind too, when you are, we have to verify every single dime that goes into the transaction. So we need bank statements and all that stuff. First of all, cash, nobody likes cash in the mortgage business. But we have to verify everything. And one thing that I like to say is if you don't have enough money for a down payment and your closing costs and stuff, or you're a little tight, that kind of thing, that's fine. Like we said, we can get the seller to help out, but don't lowball the seller. If you're going to, this is really big, because these costs can add up depending upon, like we said, your escrows, your insurance, if you're in a flood zone or not. That's the wild card. We never know with taxes and insurance. But don't lowball the seller. Don't go in if the house is $150,000. Don't go in and offer him $120,000 and expect him to pay, $4,000 to $6,000 of your closing costs or something. Definitely try and come at asking price.
Yeah, and I'm hearing a lot from realtors that I'm dealing with too, and I'm sure you have as well. Some properties, depending on the property, they're getting multiple offers.
Right.
So if you're coming in with a lowball offer and asking closing costs, you're not going to get it.
Right.
Flat out, you're not going to get it. So make it a reasonable offer. Talk to your realtor about that. They're going to be able to guide you and assist you with that. That's what they're there for. So kind of rely on them with that.
That's our show this week. Thanks so much for watching. Again, this is the show to forward on
to buyers, prospective buyers out there.
Kind of giving them a heads up on what's going on. We do appreciate phone calls, texts, emails.
Yeah, if you have any questions, reach out to us. If there's something that we haven't covered that you're interested in or a buyer is, just let us know. Call us, text us, social networking, all that good stuff.
This stuff can tend to be a little confusing for people. So tell them, you know what, we're here to just answer questions, and we're good with that. Please visit our team over here. This is our team of professionals who help us get all of our closings done timely, efficiently, and I know they can help you as well. Thanks so much. We are Today and Every Day.
Moving forward, we'll see everybody next week.
Bye-bye.